Hello there. It is me, Rish Outfield. Why did you show that picture? Ick. Rish Outfield, bringing you the return of Tales of eBay Horror. In this series, I bring you two stories of things that actually happened to me that will chill your very blood. Or irritate you, or make absolutely no impact on you at all. This is my vow. So, in the first season, I told a few stories, and one of them, in the in the months since I recorded it, we have an addendum. So this episode will be called You Should Have Told Us. Sorry, that was weird for no reason. I might have made more videos. It's hard to say. But I took a break around the Christmas holidays, and then I couldn't find my camera, and I found my baby nephew had it. He was a year old, and he likes to destroy things. And I tried to use the camera. I was going to record a song. Yeah, there are worse things even than me talking. And it wouldn't turn on. I figured, okay, well, the battery is dead. That's fine. I tried to charge the battery. It wouldn't charge. It was broken. And that was it. I couldn't make any more videos. And that was the funny thing. Suddenly, I wanted to make videos. I had all these ideas. A bunch of tales of eBay horror started jumping into my head, and I couldn't do it. I mean, isn't that always the way? It's when you're stuck somewhere that you want to do this thing that's a chore the rest of the time. Well, here it is, a new season, and hopefully a new batch of Tales of eBay Horror. But as I said, here's a follow-up to a story from last year. There was a guy who claimed that his package didn't arrive. And sure enough, the tracking number said it was just out there. It had been picked up from my house. It had gone to some station. And then it just stopped. And the guy demanded his money back. And I didn't know what to do. I had mailed it. It hadn't been returned to me. And what was the explanation? You know, sometimes packages get lost. Sometimes the labels get torn. I remember there was a rainstorm one time, and just taking the envelopes out to the mailbox, a couple of them got enough rain on them that they started to smear, and I realized, oh shoot, I need to print new labels for these things. I didn't have an explanation. But sure enough, the guy issued a dispute that it hadn't arrived. And 3 days after he created the dispute, it closed in his favor, and he got his money back, and I didn't get anything. Them's the breaks. You know, it's sad. It's rough. A couple of weeks went by, and it never came back to me. The package never came back to me. It was gone as far as I knew. But I was looking up my sales, and it occurred to me to check that tracking number again. And to my surprise, it had been delivered. It had taken a while, but it eventually, after being at this hub, at some kind of distribution place, at some kind of post office for weeks, it had finally gone out, and been delivered. And I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I can get a reversal on this. Maybe I can get, there's an appeal process that I don't think existed when I first started selling on eBay, but exists now. If you feel you've been treated unfairly. And so I called eBay, and I got a lady on the phone, and I explained what had happened, and I said, look, it did arrive. If you can look at this, the tracking number eventually, you can see that it arrived at the destination. He said that it didn't. I don't know what you can do, but something should be done here. This is, that's what the appeal process is for. And she's like, oh no, sir. Sir, it's been, and I think at this point it had been a month. It's been 4 weeks since the expected arrival date. That's a month. That's too long. And I said, but I mailed it. Look, it tells you when I mailed it, when I created the tracking number, when it left my house and was picked up by the post office. Once it's out of my hands, there's nothing I can do about it. The post office must have lost it or something, but eventually it was delivered. This guy should not have gotten his money back. And she says, well, you didn't tell us that. And I said, what do you mean? You had 3 days from the day that he created the dispute to tell us that the post office had lost your package. And I said, well, I don't know that they lost my package. There was a 3-week period when it was at this one location and it never left this location. What could I have told you? And she said, well, you have 3 days when someone issues a dispute. You could have called us and you could have told us what was wrong. And I said, I didn't know what was wrong. And she said, and this is the whole reason, the only reason I'm doing this video is because she said, but maybe there was a strike somewhere. Maybe there was a bad storm in the city where the post office was, or the city where the recipient was, or maybe there was a power outage. Maybe there was flooding. Maybe there was an earthquake. And I said, well, I don't understand. If I had called you and said there was a big storm in this city where my package is right now, you wouldn't have given this guy his money back? And she said, no. And I said, but you would have just taken my word for it that there was a fire or an earthquake or a typhoon? And she said, yes, we would have. I didn't know what to say about that. I didn't want to be rude, but that's crazy. I didn't just start selling on eBay. They wouldn't have taken my word for it. They never take our word for it. I mean, it's ludicrous what she said. But I can't help but wonder now, if I had called and said, look, I mailed this on X day. You can see it from my tracking number. It left my house. It's not like I created a fake tracking number. The post office picked up the package. They took it to Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, and then it stopped there. So they lost it, or it's on a shelf somewhere, or the postman was drunk and he wrecked the car and all those packages were lost. I still can't see them siding with me. You know what I'm saying? Their character does not lend itself to siding with me. As I said, standing right where I'm sitting, eBay always sides with the buyer. Anybody who tells you otherwise is lying or lying to themselves. But I do wonder what would have happened if I'd called and said, a serial killer got the postman, so those packages are still out there somewhere waiting for a replacement postman to spray off the blood and deliver these packages. Don't give him his money back. Probably what happened is that they record those phone calls, and after the woman hung up on me and I was frustrated and aching for a camera so that I could talk about it. Now I've forgotten the details, hence the length of this video. Her supervisor came and said, you know, we listened to that conversation you had with the seller, and no, we would not have taken his word for it. You can't tell people that we would take their word for it. We don't. Our policy is never to take people's word for it. We're eBay, just 2 rungs higher than an insurance company. Clear out your desk. I don't know, that makes me feel a little better knowing that she was probably fired for saying that. But you know, maybe that's what this show is for. I do feel better after I tell these stories. And there are more stories to tell. Once again, if you have a tale of eBay horror, feel free to share it in the comments below. And you can always contact me. I would love for somebody to say, oh, hey, I've got a story that would curl your hair. And they tell it to me, and I say, wow, this is great. Can you elaborate in this point and this point? And then I do a tale of eBay horror from somebody else's experience. Previews of coming attractions. Well, thank you for joining me in this little... Oh, you probably can't see what I just did with my hand. This little excursion into eBay horror. I have been Rish Outfield. And always upload your tracking number.